They smile when you're weak. They thrive when you doubt yourself. Manipulators, parasites of the mind, feed on hesitation, guilt, and your desperate need to be understood. They twist your emotions into chains and pull you into submission. But here's the truth. Every chain can be melted down and reforged into a blade. Betrayal, lies, humiliation. These aren't your curses. They are your weapons if you learn to sharpen them. The game they play is ancient, older than politics, older than war. It's the silent battlefield of power. And you, right now, are standing at its gates. If you want to become untouchable, you must learn the laws they fear. Laws Machiavelli whispered to princes, laws the powerful used to stay 10 moves ahead. This isn't about kindness. It isn't about morality. It's about control. Cold, calculated, unshakable control. Today, I'll hand you 10 psychological tricks, dark tactics that make manipulators choke on their own poison. Watch closely, listen sharply, and prepare to rise above them. First tactic, the mask of power. Power is not about who you are. It is about who they think you are. A manipulator studies you like prey, searching for cracks in your armor. If you walk into the arena showing scars, they will press them until you bleed. That is why you must wear the mask of power. This mask is not a lie, it is a shield. You choose what parts of yourself the world sees. You strip away the softness they can exploit, and you replace it with an image that makes them hesitate. Cold eyes, measured words, unshakable presence. Never reveal desperation. Never explain your pain. The mask projects certainty, even when you are burning inside. And here's the secret. Over time, the mask becomes you. What begins as strategy hardens into identity. Soon you no longer pretend to be unshaken. You are unshaken. The manipulator will try to read you, but your face will betray nothing. The more they search for leverage, the more they find only a wall of stone. And when their tricks bounce back against that wall, their frustration exposes them. They reveal their own weaknesses, while you stand untouched. Remember this, appearance is power. If they believe you cannot be broken, they will stop trying to break you. Let your mask turn their schemes into dust. Comment this now, my mask is my power. Speak it, write it, let it carve itself into your mind. Because the moment you master your mask, the game tilts in your favor forever. Second tactic, the weapon of silence. Silence is the assassin of words. Manipulators thrive on reaction. They prod you, bait you, flood you with questions, waiting for you to stumble into a confession or emotional slip. Every word you give them is ammunition, but silence starves them. It is the purest form of control, a power so cold it unsettles even the most cunning schemer. When you refuse to answer, you force them into the void of their own thoughts. They start filling that void with fear, paranoia, and projection. Your silence becomes a mirror. They see their own weakness reflected back at them. The greatest men of power knew this. Silence is never absence. It is presence sharpened into a blade. Speak less, and when you do, let each word fall like steel. A short pause, a cold stare, an unfinished sentence. These become traps. The manipulator leans in, desperate to break the tension, revealing more than they intended. Silence makes them impatient. Impatience makes them sloppy. And in their sloppiness, you win. But silence is not passivity. It is active dominance. It is the pause before the strike, the unspoken reminder that you owe them nothing. Silence communicates confidence, while chatter betrays neediness. Think of silence as your throne. You sit higher than the manipulator, looking down, watching them squirm as they try to decode the mystery you've built. And when you finally decide to break that silence, the weight of your words crushes them, because they've been waiting, begging in their mind for something, anything from you. That's why silence is feared. It reveals who has control of the room without ever raising a voice. Practice it, wield it, let them drown in it. And when you're ready, break it with a truth so sharp it slices their schemes apart. Comment this now, my silence is my weapon. Let the phrase echo inside you, because once you master the art of silence, manipulators will never again find an opening. Third tactic, The calculated mirror. The most dangerous weapon against a manipulator is not attack, it is reflection. This is the calculated mirror. You become the surface that bounces their tactics back at them until they drown in their own poison. When they attempt flattery, you echo it with the same hollow sweetness, exposing the emptiness of their charm. When they play the victim, you subtly mirror their tone of weakness, forcing them to see how pitiful they sound. When they attempt to provoke you with anger, you feed it back with cold, deliberate imitation, making their outburst look like a childish tantrum. Manipulators thrive on imbalance, but a mirror gives them none. They hate facing themselves because they rely on distraction and control. The moment you hold the mirror up, their tricks collapse under the weight of their own hypocrisy. But you must wield this carefully. The mirror is not about mockery, it is precision. Too obvious, and you look petty. Too subtle, and they miss the sting. The art is in balance. Reflect just enough to trigger discomfort, to make them question their own tactics, to strip them of confidence. When they can no longer tell if their game is working, doubt spreads through their mind like a virus. Doubt weakens their grip until they can no longer pull the strings. The beauty of the mirror is that it keeps your hands clean. You never attack first, you simply let them attack themselves. And while they unravel, you remain composed, untouched, untouchable. That is Machiavellian mastery, not in brute force, but in manipulation so refined it turns their own strategies into chains. Remember this truth: people can only manipulate what they refuse to see. The mirror forces them to see it. Use it wisely and every manipulator becomes a fool trapped in their own performance. Comment now, I am their mirror. Let that phrase sear itself into your mind, because once you master the calculated mirror, you no longer play their game. You make them choke on their own reflection. Fourth tactic, emotional alchemy. Pain is the raw material of power. Betrayal, humiliation, rejection, these are the fires that burn most people to ash. But not you, not if you choose alchemy. Emotional alchemy is the art of transforming every wound into unshakable control. A manipulator's goal is to pull you into reaction, to use your feelings as strings to guide your movements. They want your anger to make you reckless, your sadness to make you weak, your guilt to make you pliable. But when you master alchemy, every feeling becomes fuel for composure. Anger doesn't explode outward. It hardens your presence until your silence feels like stone pressing on their chest. Sadness doesn't collapse you. It makes you sharper, colder, more aware of the games people play. Even betrayal no longer breaks you. It becomes a lesson, a secret archive of tactics and signs you'll never ignore again. This is how kings and conquerors operated. They didn't waste emotion, they converted it into strategy. Machiavelli understood it well. Emotions are not to be denied or indulged. They are to be weaponized. When the manipulator expects tears, you give them ice. When they expect rage, you give them calm calculation. This unpredictability breaks their rhythm. They can't trap you because they can't predict you. And the more you refuse to give emotional leverage, the more they are left gasping for control that never comes. Here is the brutal truth. Most people are slaves to their feelings. You will not be one of them. You will hold the storm inside, not as chaos, but as raw power at your command. The manipulator will never understand how you stay so still while their tricks crash against you. That stillness is your weapon. That stillness makes them crumble. Remember this, alchemy is not suppression, it is transformation. You don't kill your emotions, you refine them until they are untouchable armor. Comment this now, my pain is my power. Write it, own it, live it. Because once you master emotional alchemy, you cannot be broken. You can only be sharpened. Fifth tactic, strategic distance. Closeness is vulnerability. The manipulator thrives when they are near, when they can study your expressions, invade your emotions, and suffocate you with constant pressure. Strategic distance is the art of denying them that proximity, of pulling back not out of weakness, but out of control. Distance is not escape, it is power. When you step back, you create scarcity, and scarcity makes your presence valuable, mysterious, untouchable. The manipulator wants to anchor themselves in your daily thoughts, to feed on your reactions like a parasite feeds on blood. But when you withdraw, when you strip them of access, they wither. Every unanswered message becomes a question in their mind. Every delayed response gnaws at their control. They begin to doubt their influence, and doubt is poison to a manipulator. Machiavelli knew, the prince who is too available becomes common, and the common are never feared. The wise ruler appears when he chooses, not when he is summoned. You must do the same. Withdraw to observe, withdraw to reset the field, withdraw to remind them that you are not bound to anyone's orbit but your own. This does not mean running from confrontation. It means making them chase shadows while you conserve strength. Strategic distance also protects you from emotional traps. The further you stand, the harder it is for them to distort your perspective. You see their moves clearly without the fog of closeness clouding your judgment. And when you finally step back into their space, you arrive with control. Not as a desperate pawn, but as a sovereign force. Let your absence speak for you. Let the silence of your distance carve fear into their schemes. When they realize they no longer control when and how you engage, their grip crumbles. Remember this, power is never desperate, it chooses when to appear. Comment this now. My distance commands respect. Write it and let it sear into you. Because once you master strategic distance, manipulators cannot cage you. You turn the cage into a throne, and they are left clawing at the bars you built. Sixth tactic, the precision strike. Power is not about endless attacks. It is about waiting, studying, and striking once with precision, so sharp it leaves no chance for recovery. A manipulator expects you to lash out blindly, to argue, to defend, to waste energy while they sit back and watch you burn yourself. But you will not give them that satisfaction. You will become the surgeon of conflict. The precision strike means you say little, you do little, until the exact moment their weakness reveals itself. Then one word, one sentence, one move shatters their entire facade. Imagine this. They provoke you, expecting anger, but you stay silent, unshaken. Days later, when their confidence swells, you drop a single truth, timed like a dagger to the throat. Not a rant, not a lecture, a surgical phrase that exposes them to everyone, or to themselves. The effect is devastating, because they never saw it coming, because you waited, because your restraint gave your strike the weight of inevitability. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved. The precision strike is how fear is born. It is not rage, it is cold calculation, the reminder that you are always watching, always capable of ending the game when you choose. This strategy requires patience, and patience is rare in a world addicted to reaction. But patience is power. A manipulator cannot fight shadows. They cannot anticipate silence that suddenly transforms into steel. When you strike, do not repeat yourself. Do not explain. The blow should land so cleanly that it echoes in their mind long after you've moved on. And never strike unless the target is worth it. Precision is wasted on the unworthy. Save your weapons for those who dare to challenge your throne. This is how you transform weakness into dominance. Not by flailing, but by mastering the art of the perfectly timed cut. Comment now, my strike is precise. Claim it, because once you wield the precision strike, manipulators will fear your silence as much as your words, knowing that at any moment you could dismantle their entire scheme with a single, merciless move. Seventh tactic, the currency of secrets. Information is the bloodline of power. A manipulator wins because they know something about you, your fears, your desires, your past mistakes. They hoard your secrets like weapons, ready to unsheath them when control slips. But here lies the truth. Secrets are currency, and you must never spend recklessly. Guard your inner world as if it were a fortress. Do not reveal your vulnerabilities in moments of trust, because trust is the manipulator's disguise. They will laugh with you, drink with you, even comfort you, only to use every confession as a chain later. Machiavelli knew that rulers who spoke too freely handed daggers to their enemies. Silence about your personal life is your shield. But secrecy alone is not enough. The true art lies in collecting. You must watch, listen, and absorb without exposing yourself. Learn their patterns, their habits, their desires they think no one notices. When you hold their secrets, you hold the leash. The manipulator thrives on asymmetry. You break it by reversing the game. The moment they know that you know something that could undo them, the balance shifts. But here is where cold power separates itself from cruelty. You do not always need to use the secret. The shadow of it is often stronger than the blade itself. Let them wonder what you might do. Let them imagine consequences greater than reality. Fear is fed by imagination, and manipulators choke on uncertainty. Guard your own life like a locked vault, while quietly unlocking theirs piece by piece. Never flaunt what you know. Never brag about what you've discovered. Keep it hidden. Keep it sharp. Because the day you choose to use it, the strike will be final. Secrets are not gossip. They are nuclear weapons of psychology. The careless waste them. The powerful hoard them until the perfect moment. Comment this now. My secrets are my fortress. Let it brand itself into your mind. For when you master the currency of secrets, manipulators will approach you cautiously, unsure of what you hold, fearing what you may unleash, and that fear is your throne. Eighth tactic, the illusion of compliance. Sometimes the sharpest blade is not defiance, but obedience, at least the illusion of it. The manipulator expects resistance. They feed on conflict, on the satisfaction of bending your will until it snaps. But when you cloak yourself in compliance, you become invisible to their suspicion. You nod, you smile, you appear to yield. This disarms them. They believe you have submitted, and in their arrogance, they lower their guard. That is when you gather strength, when you learn their patterns, when you let them think they've won. Machiavelli himself wrote that a ruler must sometimes bow to circumstance while plotting his rise. Submission can be the camouflage of ambition. The illusion of compliance is not weakness, it is strategy. When you play along, you conserve energy. You avoid unnecessary battles. You let the manipulator underestimate you, and underestimation is the sweetest gift an enemy can give. They reveal more. They expose their arrogance. They open doors they would never open if they saw you as a threat. And then, when the moment is right, you step out of the shadows. Not as a slave, but as the one who has been quietly weaving the strings all along. The power of feigned obedience lies in its unpredictability. No one expects the quiet, agreeable figure to suddenly take the throne. But remember, this requires discipline. You cannot allow your pride to betray your mask. You must endure their condescension with the patience of a hunter watching prey walk blindly into the trap. This is not about ego, it is about outcome. The manipulator who thinks they own you is easier to destroy than the one who fears you. Let them think they are in control. Let them smile at their imagined victory. And then, when you have extracted everything you need, you reveal the truth, not through noise, but through one decisive move that flips the entire game. Comment this now. My compliance is my disguise. Breathe it in, because when you master the illusion of compliance, you will never again waste strength on meaningless resistance. You will let others chain themselves with their own arrogance, while you quietly hold the key. Ninth tactic, the shadow of fear. Fear is the oldest language of power, not rage, not kindness. Fear. Manipulators thrive because they believe you fear losing them, fear confrontation, fear being alone, fear rejection. They feed on that trembling silence inside you. But when you master the shadow of fear, you reverse the current. You do not scream, you do not threaten. Your presence itself becomes the warning. Fear projected is not about violence. It is about aura. It is the silence in your eyes that makes others hesitate before crossing you. It is the calmness in your voice that suggests you know something they don't. It is the way you move through betrayal without flinching, as though nothing can touch you. Manipulators are predators, and predators calculate risk. When you project the shadow of fear, you become too risky to attack. They begin to imagine consequences that don't exist because you never show your hand. Machiavelli understood this principle. Men should either be crushed completely or left untouched, because partial force breeds revenge. You live this by never posturing with empty threats, never exposing weakness. You let their mind do the work. When they see no reaction, no panic, only stillness, their imagination takes over. And imagination is far more terrifying than reality. The brilliance of this shadow is that you don't need to act often. You act less, but with more weight. You choose carefully what you reveal. A piercing stare that lingers too long, a subtle reminder of something you know, a pause that feels deliberate. Small gestures become storms in the mind of a manipulator who survives by certainty and control. Deny them that certainty, and you create unease. Unease grows into doubt. Doubt grows into fear. And soon the manipulator stops pushing, not because you fought back, but because you became untouchable in their imagination. Fear is not cruelty, it is armor. It does not make you reckless, it makes you unapproachable. It makes people think twice before trying to bend you. That hesitation is victory. Comment this now. I am the shadow they fear. Etch it into your mind. Because once you master the projection of fear without words, manipulators will collapse under their own paranoia, while you stand silent, sovereign, unshaken. 10th tactics, the throne within. The final battlefield is not outside of you, it is within. A manipulator can only thrive if you need something from them. Approval, validation, love, security. As long as you crave what they withhold, you remain vulnerable. But when you claim the throne within, you become untouchable. This throne is not given, it is seized. It is the state of mind where you require nothing from anyone, where you are whole, complete, sovereign in yourself. Manipulators are merchants of dependence. They sell illusions of comfort, attention, belonging. They want you addicted to their approval like a drug. But when you ascend to the throne within, their currency becomes worthless. You are not shaken when they withdraw affection, because your value does not come from their hands. You are not broken when they betray you, because betrayal cannot wound a fortress that stands alone. Power flows inward, not outward. Machiavelli taught that rulers must never depend on others for their survival. Their strength must come from within their own walls. So too must you build your fortress. Discipline is your brick, self-mastery your mortar. Every moment you resist reaction, every time you convert pain into clarity, every step you take alone with strength, you are building that throne. And when you sit upon it, manipulators cannot reach you, because they cannot manipulate what does not need. That is the ultimate freedom. It does not mean isolation, it means control. You may allow people close, but never so close that your survival depends on their presence. You may enjoy approval, but never hunger for it. You may welcome love, but never collapse without it. This is the paradox of power. The less you need, the more you command. People are drawn to sovereignty, to the one who walks unbound. The manipulator becomes irrelevant, their tricks reduced to desperate echoes, because you no longer play on their board. You have built your own kingdom, ruled from within. And here lies the crown. When you master the throne within, you stop being the hunted and become the storm. Comment this now. I am untouchable. Say it, write it, make it truth. And if this journey has sharpened your mind, if these tactics have opened your eyes, then remember this. Power is not a gift, it is a discipline. Take it, claim it, live it, and never again bow to the schemes of the weak. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because power is not built in a day, and I will keep sharpening your throne until no manipulator dares stand in your shadow.